Okay. Welcome everyone to the Toku Portal podcast. It's me Zero here with.
Did it again?
Drago.
And Rai. Welcome to Kamen Rider Zi-O episode 42. Uh, if you tried to listen to us last week, sorry that I messed up with OBS. Zero was able to salvage most of it. That will be up at some point if it's not already.
Yeah, so it's not up right now, but I'm done the audio editing. So what happened is you and Henshin had a conversation in the beginning. That's cut because like only Henshin's audio is there.
Yeah,
And
I
then when
wasn't even
Drago
recording
showed
with
up,
OBS at the time.
right, and then at the end when Drago showed up, we had to cut that because Drago's audio is not there. So like the middle part where it's just me, you, and is there. I mean, that's still like an hour long, or I mean, I guess like 45 minutes. Okay, silence. Um, but yeah, like most of the middle section's there, but just the beginning with you and Henshin's not there, and then when Drago shows up, that bit's not there. Well, I had to kind of cut it. Um, yeah, so the audio's done. Video, I'm gonna probably have to render it in a video and upload it. So hopefully like either today or tomorrow, but sometime this will be up.
Alright, so, uh, we open up on Gaze and Sogo's fight, where Sogo does not fight back. He doesn't want to fight Gaze. And then Tsukuyomi comes in and stops Gaze from finishing him off because she has questions for the Demon King. And it kind of parallels the very start of the series where pretty much exactly this happened. So I really like that touch.
Yeah, I just like Tsukiyomi being more useful in general.
Yeah, the fact is that they were calling back the earlier parts, and also that this actually explained that it was the Zio. The reason why they attacked, the objective is to beat Zio, and not exactly who is Zio underneath Zio. So that was pretty nice for them to do. Yeah, so it's kind of sometimes it just you don't get explanations for some of the few of the things, and then things just happen in this show. This one was pretty nice that they did.
Yeah. So unlike last week, we actually have audio in the stream, so that's good. As for the beginning part, like Decade and Drago kind of covered that, so moving on.
Uh, so moving on, they bring Sogo back to the Resistance base where the uncle is like very not happy to have the Demon King there because he doesn't know who Sogo is. Uh, and so while like the three of them are talking, Decade is just like helping himself to rations in the background.
He loves hot dog buns. At least that's what they look like.
It was incredibly hilarious to casually eat something while everybody is talking inside the patient room and nobody is batting an eye.
Like eventually Gaze says as like, who is this guy? And Sogo doesn't actually explain who Decade is. Like later on, when he hits Henshin, who is the pink guy? Actually, he's magenta.
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty fun. Also in character, so that's nice. I do kind of love, like, it's freaking great that like Decade is basically like they're just like another like they're just the extended cast of Zio now. Like we thought it was gonna be a two-parter, that's turning into at least three parts, potentially longer. So like they're just here for an arc now. Uh, so like they're just part of the show, which is freaking awesome. Um, and Tsukasa is always pretty entertaining. As long as he's not in his own show. In his own show, it's kind of the Kabuto problem of like too much ego going on. But when he's just like in the background,
Yeah, I feel like he spent too much time as Jinga, and it's kind of rubbed off on Tsukasa because he's a bit more, I don't know, flamboyant, I guess.
Yeah, honestly, that's the. I think that's the case because. Okay, I think that's the case because some of the traits that Jinga had were, is displayed by Sukasa here, and it's not. It's kind of. I understand why because that was recently the role that he was doing in between when he was shooting for Zi-O. So it's fun regardless.
honestly, you can just chalk it up to it's been like, however many years. So like he's changed a little bit. I mean, honestly, Decade was pretty on point in this episode. The like the end kind of annoyed me a little because he like comes to the world and like shit's burning and all that, and he just goes to, oh yeah, I can get a treasure. I'm like, fuck you, right? Like the end is from a world like this, right? Like normally everywhere else he's like, oh yeah, treasure, 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 but like he's from like a fucked up reality like this, right? Like he wouldn't just be like, oh, I'm just here for the treasure. Like it would personally affect him. So that's like one of those things where I'm like, oh, that's a little out of character. But besides that, he's great in everything.
So, speaking of the end, over at Hiryu's base, Waz is kind of showing him like who Omazio is in the other timeline. When Deanne bursts into the room, shoots out all the lights, henshins, and then steals the another ZO2 watch. And all I could think the entire time is, he can turn invisible.
If only that was the worst thing. He also has White Waz's book, but we had to show off Brave Inspector, which honestly was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was cool to see him summon, uh, like, Neo Heisei riders to fight on the Nether Riders. And, like, I got a kick out of him just bursting the room, like, guns a blazing, but he can turn invisible.
Yeah. So, okay, go ahead, Dragon.
No, I was saying I think it's because he's nearing his
Sorry, he's what?
since he's nearing his 30s. I think he just became. Uh, did you guys get that?
No.
Okay. What I was saying is I think he's
Yeah,
okay.
you keep
Since
cutting
he's
out.
nearing his 30s. Okay. Shit. I just hate this mic. Since he's nearing his 30s, I think he just became more showy and flamboyant more than he was.
Oh. He's entering his midlife crisis.
I see.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Um, I can kind of go with that. He got a little bit extra cocky. Honestly, I forgot he had invisible. But the thing is, like, he would have the henshin to use that. Also, it'd be less interesting of an entrance. So I'm like, okay, it's fine. DN likes to be a little theatrical every once in a while, so it's fine. The thing that annoys me is like, okay, he wins, and then he runs out the door, and then he gets caught immediately. I'm like, oh, fuck that. Right? Like,
That's what I've
okay,
been.
yeah, to be fair, like, he's going against, like, fucking time users,
Yeah, that's
like,
what I was gonna say.
people with time powers, right? But I'm like, even still, like, the end wouldn't just, like, he got caught a little too easily, but I feel like it's more likely that he considered that possibility that, like, oh, like, even if they capture me, I'm too valuable, so I can risk it. Yeah. And that's, like, that part and then like the beginning part are like the two things that I'm like this is a little off because like Dean's a little better than this. But other than that, he's great. Also, it's good that he didn't fucking get like mind wiped or just controlled or something because that would have been so fucking lame to do to such an awesome character.
Yeah, and then uh, so Schwartz, because it's like I'm glad Schwartz uses his powers for something. Usually it's just like interrupting fights and such, but hey, no, here, hey, it's actually like hey, catch a thief that stole something that they super need. Uh, and then he gives that power to Dien to recruit him. Sorry.
Yeah, honestly, I felt like the real treasure here was probably just getting the time powers because like
He can be a
the
bigger thief with
watch.
that.
Yeah, exactly. Like he can get the watch anytime. Also, this annoys me because like the end is like oh no, he's fighting people with time powers. I'm like episode yellow exists, right? Like the end's the type of fucker who would like consider all the possibilities. And also, this isn't the first time he's fought these assholes, right? Like this isn't the first time he's dealt with the time jacker. So like he would consider the time jacker powers in his plan, so it's a little off. But I'm like, I get it. It's just for this. They didn't want to think
Like,
of a clever reason.
I guess you can just assume that like Schwartz was hiding, was like not there in the room, and so he didn't think like, hey, there's no one here who can physically stop time.
Aura was like right there,
Yeah, but she doesn't do
but
anything,
what?
so
uh, oh fuck. Oh god, it's so mean, but it's true. Like the other
I
time jackers, everybody with
I
time powers did more
I
with their
wish
time
it
powers than
wasn't
Aura
true.
did.
Like even the kid did more when he like
No, no. Forget her. Even Tsukiyomi and Diane did more.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, I don't want to get into this, but why the hell is okay? Why the hell is Ryder so incompetent at writing female characters?
Because it's a very I was going to give like a legitimate answer, but I feel super bad saying it because of how sexist it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
On
again, but also we
honestly,
have
I,
had
I
better female characters before. That's the main problem.
there's that, and then my other thing is like everybody gives like Sentai props. Here's the thing. I feel like the only like it's not that Ryder is terrible. I mean, it is fucking terrible. Or Sentai is better. What I think what happens is like Sentai is like, no, you can't have a Sentai team without female characters, right? And therefore they
Sun
automatically
Vulcan.
become heroes. In which case you just write a hero story and give it to one of the female characters, right? So it's like they're getting better stories by default. Whereas Rider is like it's a Rider show. We don't need to fucking give the female characters any real
Fine,
plot lines.
fine.
Like
We'll make a female rider. Happy, she's dead now.
she's dead now. Yeah, exactly.
Or she's
Oh
not
my
an actual
god.
rider.
Oh fuck. Man, that pissed off so many people in Drive. Like like Kiriko not being able to henshin, like fucking pissed off like basically the entire fan base. Oh man. And the worst part is they're like, okay, fine, she's not gonna get a belt. She can't henshin. But we'll give her like rider light gear. So like she gets boots which are equivalent to basically like a basic rider kick. And then she has like a gun. Like she basically can use Drive's gun. She gets like a copy of it. And then there's like something else. So it's like she's basically like a basic low level rider. But then she gets like 2 episodes or something with that shit, and they basically forget that all that stuff exists. It's so annoying.
Wow.
Like it's so bad. Go ahead,
It
go ahead.
is okay. Just sorry for that side tangent. And okay, it's gonna get over pretty soon. But okay, that drive thing was something that, because Mark could be pretty much removed and you wouldn't lose anything much. Just replace him with Kiriko, and the story would make as much sense.
Yeah, no, well, the problem then becomes is like then you can't give the chase. Well, okay, here's the problem with that is like okay, yeah, you can do that, but then the Kiriko Mach what the fuck's his name? Chase plotline, right? Gets weird because then it's like okay, fuck Shinosuke, like Kiriko and Chase become the damn romantic like center of the show, and that's too weird. Like Toei would never do that. So they're like, okay, we need a
Yeah.
female character, right? Um, and then we're like, okay, we need Chase to have a plot line. We can give it to Kiriko, and that's actually a pretty decent plot line. And then we're like, we can't have them be the main characters because I mean, we can't give them enough plot because then they're just taking over the show. Right, because I'm trying not to spoil what the fuck happens in Drive right now because you haven't seen it, Drive.
Yeah, it's like it's the
Uh,
next thing I'm gonna do. Like I'm gonna watch
right,
Driving Ghost.
like oh god, such a that's so awful. Like honestly, like like I can kind of like be like, oh yeah, Ghost isn't that bad, and then I'm like, yeah, I can kind of say that about Drive too, but like back to back, I'm like, oh fuck,
Well, like
like
okay.
those are gonna be a pain to get through.
Well, so from what I know of Drive is that like it's like halfway through it becomes a different show, and so whether you like it depends on which show you like.
No, no, no.
Or whether you okay.
It doesn't become a different show halfway through. Halfway through, they realize, oh right, this is Kamen Rider Cop Show. Let's do that now.
What they
So
so they doubled
halfway
down on the
through the
gimmick.
no, no, they actually do the gimmick.
Oh.
Like halfway through the show. In the beginning, it's like we're just fucking. It's almost entirely filler.
So halfway through they
Well,
realized what the
half of
show was
half
supposed
of
to be.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Like
that's
half the
terrible.
show is yeah. You know how we're like, oh, what's Schwartz's plan? Yeah, imagine that, but like fucking everything in Drive until like 2/3 of the way through the show.
Who is this guy? Why is this important? Why is Chase here?
Right? Like at
Um,
least we get answers to those, but it's like, okay, like why though? Why are you doing this shit, Roy Muse? What's with this weird evil iPad? Why are you a belt? A Japanese Tony Stark. Why are you a belt? Um, why are Heart Wheels like the saviors of humanity? What's going on? Um, yeah, I love how fucking
Dri-
stupid this sounds out of
Drive to
context, and
survive.
that's
Oh.
um. Also, I said like last episode I was like, oh right, just go to Gaim, wish on the lock seed as your Dragon Balls. Then I forgot that Ghost existed because if you collect 15 of the icons, you literally get your wish granted.
Yeah.
So like they're literally Dragon Balls.
So does Ghost have the wizard problem where it starts off really good and then like downward spirals non-stop until the final arc where it comes
No,
back a bit?
no. What Ghost's problem is like the beginning is mediocre as fucking. Um, in the middle it gets really well, not really solid, but it gets pretty solid, and then the last arc is like super fucking dragged out. Yeah.
the only issue is that
So it's
the
basically a reverse Blade.
yeah, pretty much.
That's a hard pill to swallow.
Okay, as someone that has that actually like okay, I would say I did enjoy Ghost when I was on a rewatch. Like if you get like suppose if you are like really into Buddhism, you'll understand like the first half of the show very well,
I
and it
don't.
is actually fun to watch. Because I have a Buddhist friend who was explaining things to me about that show, so it was easier to watch. But the middle half is really interesting. The last half is yeah, I agree with Zero. It's dragged out, and the villain is not charismatic. That's the problem.
Right. Like Host's problem is like one early on it's a little too kiddie and like they're not and it's a little too like they're playing like oh this character and this character butt heads because they're character types and it's like that's the whole plot line for them. It's like super annoying.
Oh,
But what happens is like by the time Spectre shows up, the show starts turning around
what
because
what's
in
what's the deal with Spectre's clone?
Spectre's what? Sorry, repeat that.
Clone.
Clone?
You don't want to get into that.
Oh god. Oh yeah, he does have a clone. Oh,
Not
oh yeah, that's the last arc. I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh yeah, he does exist. Oh god. So
Wow. When the reception is, what the fuck are you talking about? You know you got something good there.
oh no. So what happens is in like the final arc. Oh, it's fucking complicated. Like, there's a lot of very interesting shit going on in Ghost. It's just like dragged out. That's the
Okay,
problem.
let me ask
So
this.
like, so like writer plot wise, it's really interesting because like scenario wise, it's fucking amazing,
Let me ask
right? Because
this
it's
then.
like nothing in writer has a plot line like this.
Uh, which
Uh,
one dies, the original or the clone?
the the clone. I think the clone dies.
yeah. The wait. Let me tell you something.
Hmm.
Okay, if we have seen the Spectre V cinema, I would
No, but
say if then I'm okay. Then I'm not gonna spoil it for you
no,
because
it's
the
fine. I
Spectre V
don't care.
cinema. Okay,
That's a okay.
basically,
Just put out a spoiler warning and then
okay. Spoiler warning. Just skip 5 seconds. Makoto Fukami is okay. Makoto is not a real person.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh, the when they have the fight within like the clone and the real one, I'm like, it's like 50-50 who survive. So I'm like, they're probably gonna fucking pay this off somewhere.
Alright.
Yeah, no,
Also,
okay. It's
also,
this say test tube.
Okay.
yeah,
Does.
see, that's what I was thinking too, because I'm like, oh, well, he's basically the hitman for the other world. So like, he can't just be a regular human. Like, there's no way you could have survived 10 years in the other world. Okay, go ahead, Rai.
Does the clone also have a sister complex?
No. Okay, he
Yes.
doesn't have it. It's just a stupid running gag, right? But it's like they just do the gag too many times, and then it's like, oh, yeah, this might be inferred as this, therefore we must add a love interest to fix this shit. Right? So that's the problem there. It's the same shit of like the fucking build thing, kind of,
With
right?
Banjo
Like
and Sento?
the Banjo shit. Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh no,
Oh no! People are
we
shipping our
made this
main
ship too
characters!
strong. Yeah, yeah, we made this
Quick!
ship too strong.
Give Banjo the most forced girlfriend ever!
Oh god. Also, like, fuck, Drago, you weren't here for that damn podcast. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Okay, I hate the movie.
Yes, you have reason to.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, okay, the romance is super forced.
Yep.
Ebold was back for no bloody.
Okay. I hate that they painted him in a positive light.
Yeah, that, and also the fact that if they had just made Evolved be inside Banjo and he had already accepted that and he was controlling Evolved himself, I would have been fine with it. But he let him go off to space.
He just pieces out like, "Ciao, I'll come back to conquer your world later."
Right? Like they're trying to be like, oh, he's not really that bad.
Like,
Like
no,
I'm like, no, fuck you.
he's still one of the
They're
worst
trying to
Rider
get him the
villains we've
right
ever had.
person.
Dude
Okay.
blows up planets as a hobby.
Yeah, he's not that bad.
Like, and they try painting him in a positive light at like, oh, he's better than his brother is. Like, no, he's not. He became his brother.
Uh, I hate that movie so much. I just like Kilbas in that movie. Everybody else can go fuck themselves.
I actually do like Kilbis as a villain. Like,
Yeah.
he works.
I mean, it just. Okay, let's go back to Zi-O.
Yeah, okay, back to the actual show we're talking about here. So Sento and Banjo have have like a little heart to heart where
Yes, Senta and Banjo have a heart.
Sento and
Oh yeah. Yep.
Sogo and Gaze have a heart to heart.
Are
Jeez.
you sure? Are you sure? You don't mean like Tsukasa and Ren or something?
I thought it was
But-
Chase and Shinosuke.
Oh god, that's even better. Fuck.
So,
Oh, all the way back. That was nice.
uh,
Fuck, that was so good.
so Haruto and
Oh my god. Oh, okay. Fuck, we could probably do like Kabuto
we could
too,
do this all
except-
day.
Yeah. The best part is we could do Gatak and Kabuto, except the thing is like, it'd be Gatak going to talk to Kabuto, being like, "Oh yeah, we'll work together, bro," and Kabuto being like, "Piss off." So like, I fucking love that about Kabuto. Kabuto is like the one show where it's like the hero, like every other show, like the main guy is like, "Yeah, let's work together." Kabuto is like, "Fuck off." Like constantly, like everybody tries to recruit Kabuto, and he just tells them to piss off.
Then Gatak comes in. We're friends, right? No. Okay.
Yep.
So
Um,
so Sogo and Gaze have a heart to heart. Before it can get anywhere, though, Hiryu comes in and is like, "I'm evil." And they fight each other, and then Gaze rescues Sogo. Also, D-End is there, and he steals the Grand Zi-O watch with his new time powers, and Aura sees he has the new time powers and goes, "What the shit?"
Okay, you know what? They are doing the Happy Muteki where they like the villain always takes main rider's powers.
Okay.
Yeah, so that it's pretty much like nerfing the main character so that he doesn't curb stomp the entire competition.
Right, like, once he learns how to properly use Grand Zi-O to counter Hiryu being able to rewrite history, the fight is over.
Literally,
He just needs to
bring
drive by
Hypersector. Hypersector. Bring Hypersector. That'll solve all his
Okay.
problems.
Can he summon Final Form Riders?
Yeah, he
No,
summoned
I
Genius.
figured
He summoned Genius.
he can. I forgot.
Sorry, who did he summon?
Bill Genius in one of the promotions.
Oh, he did.
So yeah,
So yeah, okay, so Hyper Kabuto this bitch.
pretty much. Or just once he gets drive by, he'll just be unstoppable.
Like, we've had this conversation before. There's a rider for every situation. And that's not even including Agito's, like, endless evolution thing.
I mean, Agito is basically the Hulk, right? Like, as long as it, as long as Agito keeps moving, you can't kill him, right? Um, because he'll just keep adapting.
He's like a Saiyan. If he fights an opponent stronger than him, he'll just evolve into something stronger.
Right. Which is one of those annoying things. Like they never bring back about the Agitos, but I'm like, yeah, technically Agito is like okay, it depends on how long the fight is. If it's like okay, the enemy just like throws a spirit bomb or something, well, um, whatever. Like just a
He,
giant key blast and blows the shit out of you in one shot. Alright, that might take out Agito, but if it's like a prolonged fight, like if his Agito's part of the resistance, like you can't win. Agito will eventually beat you, right?
right.
Yeah. So
Same with Kuga, same with Ghost.
kinda, except like
Well,
Ghost. Well, Ghost is fucking magic,
I
but like
think,
Kuga kind of has like a hard limit where it's
yeah,
like,
I think Kuga caps at Rising Ultimate form, but we don't know how strong that form actually is because he never used it.
He did use it in Wizard, but we don't know the gauge of power yet. So yeah. And also, wait, I was just gonna say, apparently they have made something that is better than Rising Ultimate in the toys. I think in some novels or some shit.
Well, forget the
we're
novels.
not doing that. Yeah,
There,
I'm not. I'm not
there's,
fucking gonna put in goddamn fan theory
there,
and bullshit
there's
side
a
canon
novel
stuff.
where Decade
Like
turns into
no.
the end and he's just a blue Decade.
Oh god damn it.
Yeah, I
I
think
was
the
gonna
stage
say,
show.
yeah, right. Like then you have to consider crazy shit like the stage shows or, um, like there's a lot of fucking nonsense if we start including all this. Um, you know, Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say, I just realized that Toei considered okay since the what do you call it Drive. I think either since Drive, I think all the stage shows also have been canon. It's
Well,
the
I
producer
remember like
Omori.
Ghost.
Yeah, even Ghost.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. It was like Ghost movies, like the 100 icons, and people are like, where the fuck did these other icons come from? And they're like, who's the villain? Oh yeah, that guy who's the villain of the stage shows. Um, right? So like the Ghost movie literally incorporates the fucking stage shows, which is fucking annoying.
Anyways, so Sogo and Gaze actually have their heart to heart where Sogo explains to Gaze, like, hey, the Gaze that I know is this kind of guy, and they bond a little bit. And then Hirio tries to kidnap Sukomi?
Tsukiyomi.
Tsukiyomi, okay. Sorry, we were messing with names so much I actually almost called her Koyomi.
Oh my god, you're picking up my nonsense from last time.
um,
Oh fuck. Yeah.
so
Um.
so
Yeah.
this is where
I
we
mean,
get sorry. This is where
yeah.
we just
I'm
get
like,
uh,
it's nice that they bond, but it's a little too quick. Then again, like they're just doing it for the arc, so it's like we it's like if we fucking like, oh yeah, the timeline's been reset. We were friends in a different
Drivers in
timeline. I
Ottawa
guess we're
County were
friends now. Like there's literally no connection. But I'm like, it's nice that they're bonding. Wait,
what?
did the fight already happen where like Tsukiyomi saved Sogo?
Would
That's at the beginning, right?
The
Yeah, that was
very
at the beginning.
beginning, Tsukiyomi
Yeah, yeah,
saves him from gaze.
right. Which I kind of love because it's this little arc we're having is literally what Zio should have been. Like, all the characters are active, all of them have interesting shit going on. Like, they're all acting like they should. Like, Gates is like super serious and out for blood, and Tsukiyomi is more of the, hey, let's try this thing another way. And like, it's basically the beginning of the show, but just done better. So it's like, it's kind of nice.
They, they all have reason to be here.
Yeah, yeah, for now. I mean, to be honest, like, at this point, it seems like every one of the characters actually has a plot line. So yeah, you're right. They actually do have a reason to be here. It's just it feels like the show didn't have enough plot line for these characters, so now all the plot line got stuck at the end. Which, hey, at least that means the show will end on a strong note.
Drago?
What I was gonna. Okay, I think Zio is the problem, but just stretched out.
Sorry, do you
Because
mean Zio is the rider?
no, the Zio show has the blade.
Oh,
You know, the beginning half being
right.
subpar. In retrospect, it makes sense. But the middle arc being really strong. The middle arc being final really really strong, and that's the kind of feeling I'm getting. But just stretched out. Otherwise, I really like. I kind of dig the fact that I think since it's not the entire. I think since he rewrote history, I think gaze is like it's more of a memory alteration through altering the worlds. That's the reason why, because gaze can feel something for Sogo. That's what I got from the scene,
It,
and I like the scene after really right after that.
it's definitely memory alteration because if this version of Gaze and Tsukiyomi had actually come from the future, they would have been going after Hiryu from the start and would not have confused Sogo for the Demon King that they were after.
Yeah.
Uh, so Hiryu has his another riders kidnap Tsukuyomi, and this is where we get the best scene ever. Kamen Rider Decade with a real gun.
He had a what
Uh,
gold
M16.
something last week. So
Yeah,
he
so
had a
like
shotgun, okay, as
no, he had
weapon
an
last week.
assault.
Yeah, he had an assault rifle last week.
Yeah.
Now he has a real gun, and I was just wondering why just not shoot. I
Right?
was just
Like,
watching.
it's because,
why not pull the trigger?
I don't know,
Yeah,
because Hiryu is still a person.
I don't give. Yeah, you can shoot him in his fucking leg, make your job easier. You know,
shoot him in the face, man.
everybody always goes like, "Oh no, I have a gun. Oh, I can't kill you. You might be a human being." I'm like, okay, don't fucking
No, no,
murder the guy, but like shoot him, like Asakura the shit. Like take a metal pipe, hit him,
Break
and
his
then fight.
kneecaps.
Exactly. Let's see you
okay,
do a rider kick
Shove
when
his
you
face
can't
into some
walk.
broken glass a little bit. Get it
Okay,
all
that's a bit
smothered in
much.
there.
I don't know. I think that's a bit
okay,
much,
okay.
but
Let me tell you something. That is
okay.
stupid reasoning because writers have no killing people if they are doing bad things, especially if they have fake
Right?
facial
Yeah,
people.
exactly. Right? Like fucking I remember in shit, like oh fuck, Megamax, whatever. It's in one of the crossover movies, like O's and Forze or something, like fly right through a helicopter. Right? I'm like, okay, the
Yeah,
pilot
yeah.
is doing nothing. He's not even shooting you. He's just the hired guy. Like you just murdered a dude, right? um, like you can't use like Western hero logic I'm like, oh, they have a code that they don't kill. I'm like, it's fucking Rider. They murder a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Even
Um,
Decade has done
Let's.
that before.
also, it's Decade. Like one of the few people who'd be like, ah, fuck it. The ends justify the means. You die here, right?
So, yeah. So let's argue this then. If he fired the gun, here you probably would have responded by henching, and that transformation would have blocked the bullet, maybe. So just cut out the
Yeah.
middleman and skip straight to the rider stuff.
See, here's the thing. They henching anyway, but you might as well have him fucking just shoot him. Here you henshins, and then Decade just throws the gun away and henshins himself, right?
Yeah.
That would have made sense. But then I know why they didn't because they wanted to do the cool like. There's a couple shots like this where they have like two riders henching at the same time. I'm like, that's cool. They're on opposite sides, but I'm like, it doesn't make sense in this situation.
I really like the DN was one though.
Yeah, that was cool. This one also the fact that his signature catchphrase for the first time in when he asks and then he henshins. That was really great.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
pretty
that's
good.
right.
It's
Back early on in the show, he said, "I'm just a passing through destroyer of worlds," didn't he?
I don't remember this, but maybe because the thing is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Decade has this thing where it's like the villains always just ask Decade, "Who the fuck are you?" And that's just one of the gimmicks. So
I mean, that's
it's
a
always
good
like
question because he always just shows up out of nowhere. Like, you're not part of this story. Who are you?
yeah, I know, but the point is like it's always the villain who asks him, and then he henshins. So it's like it makes sense that here you would be the guy.
Just a
He would be
passing
trying to
through
stop.
Kamen Rider. Remember
Yeah.
that.
Remember that? Except he doesn't say that, but it's fine.
He said, "Remember that"
Um,
here.
Uh,
oh, he did.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
also.
yeah. But yeah, okay. This line is in Japan. The Travis touchdown says in the trailer. If you guys follow No More Heroes,
Which
Uh,
game?
the No More Heroes 3 trailer.
oh, when Travis
Oh,
just straight up
okay.
henshins. I saw that and went,
Oh,
"What?
right.
Excuse
Yeah,
me? We're
Yeah,
doing
and then
this
it just goes
now?"
back, right? Like Henshin's fights, and then he transforms back into Travis. I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Travis
That
is a
segment
Kamen
just,
Rider now.
I
Travis
mean,
is a
it
Kamen
makes
Rider.
sense.
It makes sense considering Suda 51. Travis streams. He was just talking Decade coming in Zi-O. Here at Zi-O toy and everything right in front.
Uh,
Any thoughts on all this crazy shit Decade?
yeah, you've been quiet for a while.
Uh, yeah, I like the Sogo Gate stuff as well. Even though this is like alternate gaze or whatever, some of the problems we had earlier is that we didn't get this. Gaze is just kind of like figuring it out by himself instead of actually talking with Sogo. So it was kind of nice. And yeah, I'm actually curious to see what Waz is up to. Because
I'm
it's
still
like
going
an
with
alternate
undercover
interesting-
agent.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He's just gonna pull laser, but. And I guess Decay didn't lose his power, which is fun. But that's about it.
So are we going to actually get another decade? Like, is that happening? Period. Because right now he's the only one.
I think there's a suit already. I think that they are gonna do it.
Oh,
See-
another decade, huh?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we're going to be
A
getting
third
another
one.
drive. We already know that another decade is the only one missing.
Right, I think. Okay, fuck it. It's fine. Um, honestly, when Schwartz like did the weird like power transfer shit, um, with the end, I was thinking, oh, the end's gonna turn into another decade,
I thought the same thing.
but that didn't happen. I mean, maybe it'll happen next episode.
Uh, I don't think so.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to make him even more powerful because like he's pretty fucking busted
Think
as it is.
Yeah, I think at this point, if another decade happens, it would happen after the Hiryu stuff is resolved. Though from the next episode preview, like we're getting like a big assault on against Hiryu, who's gonna have like all a bunch of Nether Riders defending him. They could sneak another decade in there as like a background suit.
Maybe. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but it's kind of pointless. But completeness sake, I guess. It also seems like next episode we're gonna switch over to the new arc potentially because it's like we'll finally get to Schwartz finally making his move. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Like next episode, like honestly, I'm kind of more impressed that this wasn't a two-parter. It's like a arc. Like we haven't really had one of these type things. I mean, White was the only one I could think of in this show.
Uh, Maybe. I'm just glad that Waz has something to do again because after the White Waz stuff was resolved, he had nothing.
And also the fact that I really like the Wars threatens Zio with using Kinga, and then Soga just backs off. That was pretty fun. When like another Kabuto and
Build.
which another rider, yeah, another build were
Oh,
chasing after me. Yeah,
I love that when they're chasing after her, another build goes to jump over some barrels and totally whiffs it.
I love how they kept that in. That's fucking great. Um, at first I'm like, wow, that's dedication to just fuck up that thing, but I'm like, maybe he actually just fucked up and they rolled with it, which is fucking awesome. Um, I also loved before that is like Schwartz tells like Kiryu like, oh, maybe you should talk to Tsukiyomi, and he just like fucking looks at Tsukiyomi. Tsukiyomi is like fucking, he's like, screw this shit, I'm out. That was fucking great. You know, actually giving menace to these characters. Also, like later on, when she's running away, and then she like time stops, and then Ura shows up, and he like cancels out her time stop, and then like she shoots him, and then like he freezes the laser. I'm like, that was fucking badass. But I'm like, can somebody even do that? I thought like nobody can cancel out, like a time stop can only be canceled out by a person doing the time. So like, how the fuck did he do that?
I think if you have control over time, because nobody else has done it yet, doesn't it can't be done. That's why I think this is a situation called for it.
Yeah, fair enough. Plus, Ur might be stronger in this reality or whatever, considering he pulled out the freaking like. I mean, like they have like the energy blast, the time stop, and then now like the confinement rope thing. Um, Also, I love how he's like, yeah, he freezes her, takes the gun, and then like defreezes her, and is like, yeah, move or I'll fucking shoot you. Man, like everybody is so freaking active now, and it's so good. Um, as opposed
You
to the
forgot
first
that aura
show,
is a thing.
like
She,
even Aura is doing.
she
She's like, what is going
she's
on?
yeah, like she's getting progressively more like done with Schwartz.
Yeah, that is there. Even then, I just want the most we have gotten her from her is Shiba arc.
Uh, and then the stinger that we end the episode on is something we all knew months ago. Schwartz is Sugiyomi's sister, but now she knows it. Aura knows it.
Okay, words. Schwartz is Tsukiyomi's sister.
You know what? Sure, he wears a dress.
It's a tunic, whatever. That was pretty good.
Tsukiyomi is
Um,
Schwartz's little sister. We knew this months ago. Aura is surprised and stops holding a gun to her head. Not Aura.
no, it's not Aura. It's
It's
yeah.
Yeah, I got that
Uh,
confused. Aura doesn't know this yet. She's probably not. She's probably gonna be more angry when she finds out.
Yeah, go
pretty
ahead,
much.
Declan.
Just in general, I'm glad we got some more screen time, and he kind of got to be a villain again. Um, and yeah, the reveal is pretty disappointing because we all pretty much knew. But I did like seeing Uru's reaction. He was like, "What the fuck?" More than Tsukiyomi was.
Yeah, I think I guess it was fine for the people who didn't pick it up, but for us who actually for us it was really obvious. I'm okay with that. I didn't find the reveal to. It was not a cliffhanger worthy thing, but it was fine for me to not be have any issues with it. Otherwise, I really enjoyed this episode. I think it was one of the better Zi-O episodes. That is not a tribute, and I really am happy that this show has come far. Like with how they kept on changing how the show is written, so that it can actually be a better show. Also, I really like. Uh, at least the highlight of me will always because that was one of the strongest arc for me. But this is I'm really I want to see where this goes. Considering some of the stuff that I know might be coming future, I'm pretty.
Yeah, this show is actually interesting now, and this last arc is doing a great job with it. The show is, for all its rough points, is going to end on a high note at this rate. Uh, and I'm still holding on to my theory that Schwartz and Tsukuyomi might be like like the grandchildren of Omazio.
Hmm. Or maybe Hiryu.
Mm, that could be,
I mean, we
but
have the same powers.
I'm going off of like in the future time. They were like living in this luxurious mansion in what is supposed to be like an apocalyptic world that Omazio has destroyed. It's like, why do they get to live such a nice life? Why do they
Let
have
me.
time powers?
Yeah, that's no. I mean, Hiryu also.
Sorry, you
What
cut
I was
out.
gonna say is, okay, Hiryu also has the same powers as Sogo of the time premonition thingy. So, and he has the ability
Does
to change the past.
does he
So
naturally
yeah,
have that, or is that entirely the Another Rider stuff?
it's the people who are Zi-O automatically get that.
But does he keep it when he's on Another Rider?
Yeah, he that's pretty much like how Sogo keeps same for Hiryu.
Because like I'm trying to think in the context of the Omazio like future, would Hiryu have those things?
Like
Mm,
the problem becomes even if here you had it, like why would his grandkids get a mansion in Omazio
Like,
timeline? Right? Like they could be his descendants. Like they could be Hiryu's descendants because Schwartz was selecting people with that power. But it doesn't make sense why they would have the house. Right? I mean, it's that one
um,
house that's in like a million writer shows and things, right? Like,
yeah, but
seeing the inside just reminded me. of like how many things that place has been in, like the inside and the outside shots, like fucking Amazons and Kiva and like the first and like fuck like tons of
O's.
shows. Yeah, O's. Oh yeah, you're right. Um, oh man, like so much stuff.
I just call it the toy mansion now.
Oh, it was an X8 too. I think they were
It was
fighting
a
outside of
Gokaiger
it.
as well.
Yeah. It's in maybe. No, maybe not.
I don't think it's in Kabuto.
I mean, they do. Well, it's in Decade, I think, but in Kabuto, they do like Kamen Rider Drake and like Kabuto and those guys go cook for like this really rich, I don't remember, resort or something, and I feel like this might have been a location or it could have been a different location. It's fine. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
Decade
definitely
at
in
least
Kiva. It's in the
it's
Kiva
in
movie
Decade.
for sure.
Yeah, so yeah, pretty much it's there.
Yeah,
Otherwise the
it's a
episode
lot.
was good.
Yeah, like this was good. Honestly, it's really cool to make this an arc instead of just making a two-parter because like so much more interesting shit is going on with like even the time jackers and stuff finally getting involved in the plot and like Gates and Tsukiyomi being far more active and interesting characters, even Sogo. And like Waz, yeah, again, like fucking finally being getting off the damn bench, doing something.
All right, enough
Um,
pie. You got work to do.
right, exactly, right. Um, yeah, it's really solid. Like, I hope the remaining episodes continue like this, or at least this level. Because the thing is, like, there's a pretty good chance they could just like crash and burn. Because like I'm just thinking back to like Double, where it's like it's fucking great, and then the added like extra episodes at the end, it's like this is stupid. And then same thing with Wizard, where it's like, oh, the show ends, but then there's more episodes. Like, why are you doing that? Hopefully that doesn't happen, and it remains solid going to the end. Because that way, at
Um,
least it'll be remembered as a decent show.
what I was gonna say is 01 is coming soon. So yeah, and considering that I think almost ready, and they're gonna do entire stuff on like on the 17th of this month. So I think so. Where Zi-O is not for long. It will end this show probably around August or September.
Um, September 1st would put us at a full 50 episodes.
For the final show of the Heisei era, it'd be nice to get a full 50, but it's like, if you don't have the plot for 50, don't stretch it,
Right, right.
because I'd rather not have it die. Final thoughts, Decade?
Yeah, I think it's been steadily improving, and I am enjoying the characters being utilized better than what we've had. So, yeah, as long as we finish off strong, that'll be nice. And I am looking forward to the new Kamen Rider and mainly the press release, and we get to see what it actually looks like.
Honestly, like, normally I don't give a shit about the press releases, but this one I'm super interested because it's like it's the first of the new era. Like, hopefully Toei takes a different direction. It's fucking unlikely because even Ultraman has turned into Heisei Rider, like post-decade era Kamen Rider at this point. So like Toei and Bandai probably not back down, but we could always hope that they get their shit together and like maybe back off the
Uh,
Collectathon.
okay. From from how they marketed the press release with the android lady announcing the uh, android or cyborg lady announcing the press conference as a reporter. That was pretty fun. I would say a really neat way to market the show, like to actually announce the show without us getting toy leaks beforehand. I just wish we don't get it leaked and we can actually see it for the first time in the press conference. I'm really excited for 01, and especially if they're going back to the cyborg roots, I would be really happy.
You know what? Um, the most interesting thing is like maybe the future writers were like an experiment. Just well, that's not true because they're kind of like archetypes, but maybe they were just an experiment to see if we could try different styles. So like Shinobi is just like a throwback to like fun writer. It's like it's not super deep, but it's just like a fun adventure type show. Whereas Kikai is like more like hardcore, like the world's fucked. Um,
Needs
but you got one
heroes.
guy you can count, right? Yeah, it needs heroes, right? And then like Ginga is just a fucking power up. Like there's no
Yeah, ignore
personality there.
Ginga. Um,
Yeah, ignore.
Um,
So like if they
Quiz.
kind of go, yeah, Quiz was interesting too. I
Quiz
don't think Quiz,
felt like the early Heisei stuff to me, like around
right? Like
Blade.
very Kabuto, or Decade. I mean, like yeah, he was more of like you're right. Quiz, like out of the three, I don't think Quiz is gonna be the new one. I mean, like he would be interesting because it's got like the double like investigative stuff and like kind of like the sensibilities of the earlier Heisei stuff. Shinobi, I feel like is more likely, but at this point, like I think like Shinobi is probably just gonna be like web specials, which I'm fine with
just, just give
because
us
of
a
the way
full series
Shinobi
for
ended.
Shinobi. What was it? 2022. That's
On
not that far away.
or just a mini series. I'm fine
Or
with
just
any.
finish up the plot.
Right. Um.
I really want that.
Yeah.
Or just
Kikai.
make it Amazon's. Like just give us like a 12 episode
Um.
season
Well, maybe.
or
Actually,
something like
that'd be
that.
kind of interesting. Thing is, like Amazon's like way like here's the thing. I could see Kai getting an Amazon style miniseries because it's dark enough because to be on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. But
Shinobi is way too light. Shinobi could be on
considering,
the app.
okay,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say that considering Kikai was the most popular one out of all the three future riders, I
Oh,
would
really?
expect
Was he?
something along the lines of Kikai.
Huh.
Yeah,
I
Kikai.
Okay.
I honestly would
I
have
heard a
guessed
lot of
Shinobi
people.
because Shinobi was the
Shinobi.
one that got like the 3 episode thing.
Yeah, it was popular among like when it came out. It really was popular. Shinobi. I'm not saying Shinobi isn't, but Kikai was getting a lot of more attention
Oh,
because he
Oh,
was
that's
the
true.
most different and the most what do you call it
hey,
unique out of all three.
maybe we will get something with Kikai. Like I'd be down for that.
Yeah, and even if we don't, like, at least incorporate some of that styling of like a slightly more like you don't even have to be mature. You just kind of have to go back to how they used to be, like fuck, I don't know, pre Dano. Oh, that's not true. Like, I guess like if you had to pick something like okay, we all want Ryuki. It's not. It's highly unlikely
We're
we're gonna
not
get.
getting Ryuki ever again.
Yeah, they.
Urobochi tried.
Oh, fuck. Fuck him. All right, that was a really bad try to be honest. Um, but yeah, it kind of highlighted the problem of like we don't have if we have to put in the damn gimmicks, we're not gonna have time for the character shit. Um, so like Ryuki unlikely to come back, but like I'd be fine with Blade.
Yeah, I'm down
You
for
know,
that.
it's got the collectathon and it's got like the character shit.
The
I'm fine with
Collectathon,
that.
like, actually was like story relevant and felt like it mattered because they actually like progressively powered up with the cars they collected, and it was in subtle but notable ways.
Right, and like some shows it works, like Blade, the collecting works, uh,
O's.
Blade, O's, Double, because there's so few of them. Wizard, it could have worked if they limited the amount of written, because they're very plot relevant, but like
Ugh.
the other ones are just like we're here to sell toys. So like it's a 50-50 one with Wizard. Most of the other ones not so much.
Yeah, and like sometimes collectathons and like gimmicks have during story time in shows, which I really am starting to get tired of.
Yeah, Gaim did
Oh
not need
god.
a million fruit, and it especially did not need a million riders.
Yeah,
Fuck.
and
Yeah,
also
no, what I really didn't need is literally every fucking side of the damn Pandora's box having their own full bottles.
But yeah, 60 bottles, and that was to
No, 60
start.
plus,
Yeah, 60 to
right?
start.
Right.
Then we went up
Plus,
from
like,
there.
yeah, plus you have, like, the gold ones
Yeah,
and
you have
then
the
the white
lost. You
ones.
have the 10 lost bottles. You have the special rabbit and dragon bottles. You have the double bottles for like rabbit, rabbit, and tank, tank. You have the fucking soda cans.
uh,
You
I mean
have
they milk the show hard.
you have Rogue's weird unbreakable bottle. You have the fucking squish jellies.
They milk the show so hard. Like they were
Uh,
like Bandai was like, oh, popular, shove more toys. We need to sell more.
at least you saw most of it in the show, unlike Drive, where it's like 30 to 50% of this fucking show is not in the show, right?
Yeah,
Like, oh, what is this character's backstory? Go watch something else.
we,
Why is this happening? Don't ask about it. Why did that character say that line? Go watch this other movie.
why do 60 of these
Uh,
bottles exist when we don't even see 30 of them?
yeah.
To be
Um,
honest, I mean, okay, um, it's a toy. It's a collectathon. We didn't see 40 of. We didn't see half of Astro switches
Like,
either. So I'll give them a pass on that. Okay,
no,
but you
you
know what?
see every Astro Switch at least once.
Yeah, that's true. And you see every full bottle at least once. And
I don't
people
think he
don't
uses.
propose for that.
Do they all get used at least once? All 60?
at, le-
They,
at,
at least
at
I think
least it's
40 of them gets used.
Like I'm talking about
yeah.
like I don't care if I see the physical
No,
bottle. I want to see them like actually do something.
I
it's
think
in the.
what
Some of them are in the miniseries, so
yeah,
they're
a
not
lot of
in
them
the
get used
show.
in
An investigation for later, I guess.
Yeah. The
Okay.
At least okay. Here's the thing. Like Zi-O has less shit, but you don't get to see him use it, right? Like where's the Hibiki thing? Never used on screen. Where's the Kiva one? Never used on
Yeah.
screen. Where's the Deno one? Never used
Deno,
on screen.
Blade, Ryuki,
Blade too.
um,
So all the good ones.
Kabuto,
Agito.
Okay,
Agito.
Ryuki gets used
No.
in
What
the web
does?
special.
Oh, it does? They're okay.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
one
with the
time.
Decade Ride watch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
This one. But okay, you know what actually was one thing that kind of pissed me off about this rider. Why are the movies so integral to the plot? Why are we doing this Deno shit again? Or even like character
Because
arcs.
Avengers, that's why.
Yeah, like okay, because we were watching and the last arc where Sento's character kind of goes nowhere, and then we were like, where the hell that happened? And then his character arc's conclusion is literally in the movie. He's supposed to be the main character in the show.
Oh, right. The evolved shit where it's like, oh, right, like they go for the showdown and like right before the showdown, Evolt's like a totally different guy. Right, like yeah, that was so bad.
That
Um,
wasn't integral to the plot.
No, I was talking about like how Center uh, plot of coming like trying to self-reliant rather than using other people to hype your. That thing was one thing that we were all talking about, how centers get down too much and other people always have to hero. And then in the movie he convinces himself to be a hero, and that's why he has all the confidence in the last like few episodes.
Oh,
That,
okay.
that yeah, so that part was even Drive, Exceed, and Build has the same problem of every
yeah,
the
see,
character stuff being in other movies.
right, that's really annoying, but it's the other problem of like, okay, if you don't have this, then the movies are just boring collectathons. And I'm like, yeah, it'd be fine to have like a side adventure, but Toei doesn't do that because like we're putting money into this shit, right? It better be worth the time. And also, they're making the damn things plot relevant to force people to go out because the show comes on TV, it's free, right? Like most people are not collectors. They're not gonna buy the full like 60 fucking, right? But you could get them to go see a movie. So they're getting extra money somehow. So it's all just marketing, which kind of sucks, but it's like,
Yeah, it sucks being
it,
an international viewer anyway.
yeah. Um,
Time to learn
I mean,
Japanese and go to Japan.
uh, okay, whatever. It's fine. I was gonna make a Garage Hero point here, but it's not worth it. Um, I don't know. Like zero, it's gonna be really interesting. I really fucking hope like because it feels like whenever they do like the Ryuki special and like the future writer shit, like there's people who really give a shit or are really trying to write more interesting writer type shows. Just give them a fucking chance. Like we've run this form collecting formula like into the ground, right? Like you don't have to get rid of it forever. Just tone it down. Like maybe O's level. I'm fine with that. Or like um, double would be perfect, but they're never gonna go down to that. If you want, you can go blade 15 cards per rider. I'm like that's
Yeah,
fine.
just divide the shit between all the riders.
Yeah, because at
Other
least that
riders
way
for
you
a
can
reason.
right. That way you can act like it's a Sentai show and like everybody gets a fucking plot line.
Mm. Okay, I will disagree with that because everybody does get a plot line in most of the shows nowadays, at least in Rider. The only thing is that it's not distributed well among them. It's always the main character who has everything.
Ah, example, Sawa.
Hmm.
Like
Like,
when it was time for her to take the spotlight, she came in, she was relevant, and she helped out. But in between those few moments, she had no reason to be there.
I mean, I as time goes.
The worst part about Sawa is she had a plot line. They decided not to use it. Right? She had the
Okay,
Namba children plot line
yeah,
with
I
her
think
and
they cancel
Utsumi,
that
but
part.
they didn't do it.
Okay, it's that's not the. To be honest, I'm okay with whatever happened to Sava. Because I would rather have her not do anything than not do anything when it's not her job to do, rather than be a hindrance to the plot or hindrance to the characters and something because they are forcing everything on her. So I'm okay with that. because she was useful when required, and now I at least that's what I'm coming to terms with. Even with like Shinpei, like his existence was warranted. Um, Now, but it's just that I think that they have been doing a good job dividing the power. Like in Bill Cento has all of the bottles, like only he is using them, except the Dragon One bottle. But rather, if it was like 20 balls divided in four riders, you could have shown all 60, or even in some capacity.
Right, like that's the I mean that's one of the good things about Zio is like everybody gets the same amount of power-ups. So like they're all kind of on the same level for the most part. I mean like of course like Zio's going to get more busted shit because he's the main character, but like for most of it like all the characters are relatively decent power level. So at least they're not getting
Mm.
left behind. Um
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I
yeah,
just wish,
but the ride
yeah,
watches get used for nothing,
yeah,
right?
pretty much. Because ride watches they drove themselves into, because it's just specifically against another rider. Like you have to use that one specific power up, so it doesn't like actually like matter if you use it like
Well,
it's
that's
a
because
poor
he's
usage.
okay. Well, that's because your future demon lord who cheated on his fucking high school exam is not smart enough to fucking think of better ways to
He-
use his damn power ups. Um, all right, like okay,
Wait,
Gates is a
that okay.
fucking meathead.
Okay, so he cheated to graduate high school. He cheated on his own coronation. Uh, he has a motorcycle license, and now I'm like
He
questioning the
does.
legitimacy of that. He rode a motorcycle at the start of the series when they were doing that bit.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So I'm questioning the legitimacy of his motorcycle license because I've been seeing a pattern here.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, it's more like book smarts he's not good at. Um, but again, like this is really jarring because like okay, that's not true. Like Sento was the one right before this, and he's supposed to be like a super genius, but he never fucking used his bottles properly. So I guess it's just Toei being. Um, but that being
I
said, like
disagree with the
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I
That being
disagree with
said,
the
like
use. Okay,
go ahead.
I was just saying I disagree that he'd never use a. He used it appropriately up until the
Oh, the
bottles couldn't
beginning
keep up.
arc.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Yeah,
talking about beginning arc. He used it at the middle. Like I think the time when Evolved Black Hole showed up, that was the point where he stopped using the bottles.
yeah. Fair enough. I
Why
mean, like at
use
least Sento
individual
used
bottles when you can just use one big bottle?
pretty much. Um, my thing with that is, like the rider armors have powers outside of just beating riders, right? Like Forza can fly,
Yep,
right? Like they never use that in the show.
the
Like
meteor.
Wizard,
They use the
yeah,
meteoroid where
yeah.
they
I mean, they use the Gaim thing, like the watermelon. So I guess it gets used for a couple things, but that's so rarely used. Like this is super annoying. Like I wish Sento, not uh, like I wish Shogo was Sento. Like oh, the reason he beat all the writers and is like the ruler of time and the world is because like he's this evil. It would make so much more sense, right? If he'd be like, oh, I just get your power up, but I can use it in much more creative ways than you guys, and he beat everyone that way. But now the show is like, oh, I guess you're a decent dude. Here, have my power up, right? So it's shitty. Okay, so I was expecting better build. I got shittier Forza instead. There you go. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
But it is at least better than Decade, to be honest.
It,
I mean, questionable. I mean, okay. Here's the thing. Decade had interesting. Um.
here's my
Also,
argument.
Decade in the end are way more interesting
Here's my argument.
than
Sogo
than
didn't
Youngest.
ruin Ryuki.
Oh, okay, okay, that's good. I was gonna say, yeah, that's a good point. I was gonna say, Sogo also didn't ruin, uh, goddamn, Kuga and Kiva. So there's that.
Yeah. So no, so I think that's the one.
Go ahead.
Other than the first like 16 episodes, even in the 16 episode there were good tributes, but other than the first 16 episode, since the Ghost tribute, the tributes have been 10 times better than the what Decade had given. I mean, I know Sukasa and Daiki are more interesting as characters, but I would frankly say that the reason why is after, Daiki was an interesting character, and in the movies he got more explored. So, and Sukasa is fun to watch. The only thing that was holding him down was the writing of the of Decade, because he's really fun here and he's really in the movies. So I'm just
Yeah,
saying, if the problem was the episode. So if we had gotten like Zio's kind of story with Decade's character, like Decade's main cast, I'm not talking about Onodera, excluding him, I think he could be a side. It would be fine. But if they were like Decade, the End, and Natsumi, who were the main characters in this show, like with this writing, it would have been a. I mean, it would have been more enjoyable to watch. I'm not saying it's not enjoyable
yeah,
now,
yeah.
but a bit hard to
Fair,
swallow.
fair enough. That being said, like, has anything topped the Hibiki episode in Decade, where it's just kill them with music? Giant
Um,
enemy crab, come on. Anything in
okay,
Zi-O
you know
even
what?
close to that?
I would say the Agito tribute.
Agito tribute? You mean the Blade tribute?
Mm,
Okay, what do you mean the Agito?
The
Agito, where Agito Trinity teams up with Zi-O Trinity, and
Oh,
they're
okay, okay,
playing
okay, okay.
Believe Yourself.
because
Yeah, yeah,
that
pretty
moment
good.
cannot be surpassed yet.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Uh, yeah, you're right. Like Zi-O, like recently has better tribute. Okay, here's the problem. Uh, if Zi-O didn't have the new tributes, Decade would have won, because Zi-O's tributes at the beginning,
Or
while
trash.
not as terrible, were fucking boring,
Ghost was the best
right?
one of those run.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
and
and
then
that's
the
why
new stuff's
that's
really good.
yeah, that's the reason why from Ghost onward the episodes also have been better.
All right. I think
Wait,
I.
wait, wait,
Oh,
wait, 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 wait. So Ghost onward. So therefore, killing Sogo was the best move.
yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Is there a problem?
No,
I mean, yeah, because
no, no. In the
he's the
Ghost
overlord. He's
tribute,
dead now.
Yeah. Killing
right? Like,
Sogo was for the better of the show.
yep, yep. Oh
Because
man, it's
the
fucking
Ghost
great.
Tribute was also when Decade made his first appearance.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's true. Playing
and the
Agito, which
Ghost
was fucking
tribute,
annoying.
because I think to some extent the Ghost Don Kuroto was there, and
Yeah,
it was tied to the greed thing. That one, but Ghost
Yeah.
Tribute actually
Plus,
paid tribute to his own show, which
yeah,
I
like the
really
O's
love.
one was really good because you can see Edgy, like even without being a writer, like how much more, like how good of a human being he is, and like how he inspires people. And then Dan just being Dan, which was great. Um, but yeah, outside of the O's tribute, is there like any good ones at the beginning? I can't.
No,
No,
not at
the
all.
Fives one was pure nostalgia hype for seeing Takumi and Kaiza. Like
And
that's all.
yeah, that's pretty much it.
God damn you, Bleach! Fucking screwing everything up all over again. Um, yeah. Honestly, like Schwartz better have a fucking. I mean, okay, the show finally looks like it's doing something, so Schwartz probably has a plan. Um, the weird thing is like Omazi is gonna fucking come back.
Yeah,
Right? We haven't dealt with him,
yeah.
and
That's gonna be like probably like the second to last thing that happens.
no, see,
Okay,
maybe because
can I throw a
the thing
prediction?
is, okay, go.
Okay, I'm assuming. Okay, another drive is gonna show up first, and I'm pretty sure Swartz is gonna transform another decade.
That'd be cool.
That'd be interesting.
Main reason
The
why?
problem there though becomes is like, why is he under Hiryu's control?
Schwartz isn't
I'm
under Hiryo's control.
use control.
I know, but he's part of like the statues, right? So
Oh,
But it's okay. I'm not okay. Here's the thing. Hiryu is summoning another riders like how Grand Geo summons
he's
another.
not.
I mean, riders.
He's summoning dolls.
Yeah, pretty much. So even if like even okay, I'm pretty sure Hiryu is gonna be done by the next time. So even if another decade shows up, Hiryu's control.
yeah, good point. I mean, the weird thing is, I was thinking it was gonna be like Hiryu gets done, then we deal with Amazio, then we deal with Schwartz. But right now, it feels like we're gonna do Hiryu and then Schwartz and then Amazio maybe, and then it's like I guess that makes sense, but it's weird to put. I mean, like Amazio's been built up as the final villain, but like I never actually thought we were gonna have him as the final villain because we all thought Schwartz was gonna play
Well, I think
part.
like I'm willing to believe that Omazio comes first and then Schwartz.
Could be.
But Schwartz is making his move next week.
Schwartz is making a move next week.
Okay, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, I guess it really depends on how long the Decade Riders stay around. Because if Schwartz makes a move and they stick around for the episode after that, then it's a Schwartz. Then Schwartz is gonna be in the arc because like I don't think they're gonna stick around to fight Amazio. Because Amazio, I
Um.
feel like has to be Team Zi-O. Like it has to be like Waz, Gates, and
Solo.
Sogo taking Amazio.
Yeah. I would say like I'm saying the actor who plays Tsukasa and what do you call it, and Daiki are currently they don't have much going on. After Zio gets over, they're gonna do their other things like stage shows and Daiki's like his idol music career thing. So currently they are free because Zio was right after Jingle. May so he probably can stick around for the longest. They both can probably stick around for the longest.
I mean, Dian's a secondary writer. He's not like the show doesn't give a shit. Like he's cool, but like writer shows past the main writer run that they appear in, like they toss secondary writers like no tomorrow. So like Dian's gonna definitely go out first. Um,
It'd be cool if
yeah.
Decade could
Also,
stick through the whole thing from this point on, though.
that'd be interesting. Also, in this episode, when like Decade pulls out a gun, he does the freaking like spin, just like the end. I was like, oh, that's a nice touch. Um, that was fun.
Oh, you know what? You know what? Vashi and I were actually talking about the other day.
Right.
Uh,
Um,
the final scene of Zi-O, like Decade and End are there. They're sitting down for like one last meal, and like End cooks, and he like brings out the meal, and it's sea cucumber.
oh my God, you fucking monster! We're gonna reference the oh
Hey,
man, the stage show.
that still has not been
Oh, actually,
resolved a decade later.
it was. Oh no, no, yeah, you're right. It's just a running gag in the show, right? Where it's like the end's like, oh, you
You've
don't
you
like sea cucumber,
like
and like Sakasa never gets to
you've
eat it,
never eaten sea cucumber,
right?
right?
And
Like
then like in the stage show, it's Ixa just puts like just pours like a plate of it right on top of fucking the end. And the end is the one who doesn't like sea cucumbers. He's just fucking messing with Decade.
Tokiwa Sogo. Have you ever eaten sea cucumber?
Oh my god. No, but maybe Narataki has.
Narutaki hates sea cucumber.
Um, um, oh, Decade sticks throughout the whole thing, and he forces Zio to give up his power, which creates the Narataki. I love. This is never gonna happen, but fuck, I still love this timeline. This is so the
The
stupidest
timeline where
thing to do.
Narutaki is Omazio.
Yeah, no, yeah. Narataki is Amazio because Amazio used to be Zio. And Deki just forced him to give all the writers their powers back. So he just goes around yelling at Decade all the time. Um, because it's like, how dare you? I was gonna be the ruler of the world, right? Oh god, the
I was the
stupidest
king of
theory, but
time.
I fucking love it.
I really do.
It's not. That's not real. That's just us joking
Yeah, I
around.
know. I just don't want that to happen. uh,
You're right. It's
Kamen
just gonna
Rider
be the
Zi-O
final
cinema.
villain. Oh
Okay,
god. Uh, no, no,
Kamen
no.
Rider Zi-O
It's gonna be.
cinema.
Oh, I was gonna say
Another
like.
decade.
um, I was gonna say they're gonna
Oh
fight
shit!
Amazio. What?
I just realized if the actor for Naruto, he could be another decade.
Oh shit, he could be. Holy shit, that'd be so good.
Damn you,
Oh,
Decado.
you mean yourself? Oh, dude, I would love for Decade to fucking say that line to him because like you just fucking shit up in my name.
He's like
That'd be
all
really
smug
good.
about it too.
Oh man, um, I still love the fact that like in Gaim they hinted at like, oh, maybe we're finally gonna answer what the hell the deal with Narataki is because Decade's starting to pay attention to Narataki's nonsense. Never brought up ever again. So stupid. Um, actually, I was gonna be like, oh look, it's the final battle. We're just going off about like Ginga so much. I'm like, yeah, new era, fucking crossover with Garo. Just to take out Amazio. Because like, oh, you have all the writer power. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm just gonna get somebody who's not a writer.
That would not be okay for the children to watch.
With children. Um, well, okay, okay. It
Uh,
depends. Oh, fuck that. Right? Amazon
just
showed up
make,
in the Tyson.
Oh, true,
but
true.
one thing. Okay, let me say one thing. But Garo is from another company.
Yeah, I know. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
Ultraman. Bandai owns like
it's also from another
49%.
company.
So, uh, you
I
you
know,
have
but Bandai owns 49% of it.
Oh yeah, right. That's true.
they could just pull some strings.
Um,
Oh wait,
yeah,
yeah, right. We had to have Kamen Rider Cross.
crossover with Ultraman. Yeah, it's happened once before.
Yeah,
Um,
then we could just get giant Zio.
I mean, honestly, I'd be fine with just a fucking metal hero showing up. Um,
Oh yeah, let's
But
bring
we
back
because
already have
like,
Galvin.
Metal Hero Show.
yeah, like Gavan, like because they show up for
Galvan,
the
yeah, that.
Sentai crossovers, but they haven't shown up for a Rider thing in like forever.
Because I guess the don't want the Sentai world and the Rider world.
I don't know. I
Okay,
mean,
I'm done.
it's weird. Like, okay, who else could we call then? I mean, like Toei, there's a lot of like Kick Hider, but we already did a Kick Hider reference thing.
Um,
Uh,
you could do B Fighter Kabuto.
that's
Call
that's a
Inazuman
metal hero.
the okay. Call Inazuman, who is a student of
Inuzu.
Force right
Yeah,
now.
the problem is, yeah, they already did the Forza thing. Like I was gonna say Akamaiser, but I'm like again, that was in the stupid Forza movie with
It is in the
Uh,
Forza
Inazuma.
Wizard movie.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
but
okay, okay. Hear me out on this.
okay, let's see.
Uh, Kamen Rider Oja's actor was also Changeurion.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit. Oh, okay. If we're doing that, get Sid from Gaim because he was Line Maro G, right? He was the main hero for Line Maro G. So I'm like, fuck it, we can just pull that out.
Or
Um,
get the actor for
sorry.
Saga who has gone in Shogeki Raigan.
Oh,
Shogeki
that's
Raigan. Yeah, he was there.
so
So.
good. Nice, nice. I was gonna say, like, get the people from Ryuki because they were in fucking Shibuya
Uh,
15. But I'm like,
Also,
technically
I
it's a
think
virtual world, but yeah.
Ren's actor was also in I Sosakan 7.
Yes, yes, he was.
So just get them as well.
Holy shit! If that's the B team of coming into assist, that would be an awesome team up.
It's never gonna happen, but
It's
this
never
is just
gonna happen, but
uh,
fuck, that's such a
us
good
making
team.
shit up.
um,
We should write fan fiction, by the
oh,
way.
oh, okay. You know what? It's gonna be Shinchan because Forza crossover.
Oh right, no, Shinchan was also in, so he could show up as well as
He
Kamen
could
Rider
show up.
Shin-O.
Yes. Worst comes to worst, you go to the Fate world, you pull out Saber to assist because that's in the fucking wizard web thing, right? Like it's in one of the
Yeah.
stupid wizard web movie thing. God damn it.
Oh! You could get the donut shop hungry, make her magical girl.
Oh yeah. From the wizard movie. Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
cool.
Wait,
Um,
Deno had a
yes.
like a web special crossover with Cran Shinchan.
Yeah, we are
Yeah,
talking
so
about
did
that.
Forza. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it basically then it
Okay.
just turns into okay. So Toei owns Dragon Ball, or produces it, whatever,
Toei
right?
Animation is the animation studio for Dragon
Yeah,
Ball.
yeah. So they had a crossover with Dragon Ball and it's Toriyama's other manga character who shows up in Dragon Ball. Like,
Doctor. No, Doctor Slump.
Wait.
yes,
Are you talking?
from that manga,
What?
like the comedy
If we're
episode
talking
where like
about
Vegeta's like,
Dragon Ball, Great Saiyaman.
Oh
yeah,
my.
Great Saiyaman, or the one from Super. There's another one.
There's another one.
Um,
No,
Yeah, there's
okay.
one in
If you
Super. from another universe. Like he's literally writer like Saiyaman's a Showa writer reference. So in
This
Super,
one
they
is
put another
Heisei.
hero who's a Heisei writer reference because he has like I have three like he has like color changing like form changes, which just give him like 300 times boost. So it's like 300 times speed, 300 times strength. So he's a Heisei writer reference. Um, right? Oh, I mean, if we're fucking doing this, we might as well pull in the goddamn like Pretty Cure at this point because Toei also owns that shit.
Oh,
We
sweet.
have had pretty clear crossover with Kamen Rider.
Oh, also they did live action Sailor Moon.
Oh right.
Yeah.
All the
Finally.
magical girls.
All the magical. I mean, Super actually has like a whole team. Like one of the alternate
One of
universes
the
team
universes is the
is
pretty much
just a
magical girl.
magical girl reference. So that's pretty
and
great.
yeah, and the Pride Troopers.
Oh, Pride Troopers are Sentai references. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's freaking great. Um, yeah, I was actually
Killing
thinking of
everybody.
like the Doctor Slum thing, where in Super, where it's like Vegeta just realizes like you can't win because he's fighting against a character from a gag manga and he's from a shonen manga. Therefore, their logic for their comedic shit will always outweigh his like action stuff. So I'm like, yeah, Shinchan actually is the best assist in a writer world because he can just pull whatever bullshit he wants for the
Okay,
most part and
about
get away with it.
okay, you know what? The reason how I
Sorry,
the
what?
reason why I'm into Kamen Rider is because of Shinchan.
Really?
Really?
Yeah,
Um,
because I saw
that's
Dragon Knight first, and then,
oh, okay.
so I found like Crayon Shinchan movie
Oh,
going
right, it
through
has
because I was
the
really into.
yeah, it has a
Yeah,
Geno reference, right?
yeah, I was going through that, and then I saw the crossover, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch that, and that's how I found Deno.
Nice, nice. Um, yeah, it's interesting. I think mine was Kiva, but that's because I was just going through like a lot of J dramas. Actually, no, the first one was Ryuki. And then I saw like the one episode, like the first episode of Ryuki, and the first episode of Ryuki is fucking trash. And I'm like, nope. And then like later on, I was going through a bunch of J dramas, and then like Kiva was there, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll give this a try. And then like the story, like the interesting parallels between like Otoya and Wataru were so interesting. I'm like, I'm not so sure about this like Henshin hero shit, but I'll watch it just for their dynamic. And
Oh,
that's pretty much like how I got into Rider through Kiva. And then Decade happened, and I pretty much fucking wanted to give up on Rider right then and there. But I was so pissed. I'm like, fuck this. Like I saw Decade, like most of it, and then I'm like, no, this is pissing me off too much. So I skipped Double out of protest, and then like I saw it from O's. But yeah, that's how I got in. Your guys' stories, I guess.
I was watching Shinkenger and I got to the Decade crossover and I went, whoa, what's this? This looks really cool.
That's pretty interesting. Honestly, how did you even get into like Sentai? Just the hey, Power Rangers exist. I
Uh,
want to see the source material.
yeah, well, no, like, sort of. When I found out that, like, oh, it comes from Japan, I was watching through Power Rangers and I got to Power Rangers Samurai and I went, alright, this is terrible. Saban should never have gotten this franchise back. What's the Japan version like? And so I sat down to watch Shinkenger and went, yeah, okay, this is a lot better.
Yeah, Shinkenger actually seems really interesting. I should actually watch that sometime. Um, I guess Decade, your gateway into this, or Drago, if you want to say that.
Hmm. I'm trying to remember. So I think I saw the Go Kaiser opening, just like random, like not the opening song, but the little narration in the beginning, where it's like, all the heroes had to sacrifice their power. So I just started watching random Sentai, and then I'm thinking from the little superhero time bits in the beginning, I was like, I guess I'll check out those other superheroes. So yeah.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. How we all got onto this writer, I guess, train, right? I don't know. From all different directions. It's pretty cool. Anyway, Drago.
Nothing much. Like I in Asia, at least other stuff like all the 2000s when they were going through the Toku boom, we got most except Kamen Rider here. So Dragon Knight was the only thing that came on Cartoon Network that I managed to catch it. Otherwise, there was no rider for me. It was mostly Ryukendo, Rescue,
Oh man, yeah,
and
you're right. Like, honestly, I used to watch a lot more tokusatsu than I do now. I think now it's mostly just writer. But like for a while, like yeah, Ryukendo. I saw Grand Caesar.
yeah,
Studio
Grand Caesar, the
15,
Riser.
Garo. Right, right.
I
So
still
like,
watch Garo.
God, I have to catch up on Garo. I'm so behind.
Yeah,
But
you have
yeah,
to
there
catch
used
up
to be
to a lot.
yeah, Ultraman. I've seen very few Ultraman shows, but Ultraman's such an interesting, like it doesn't feel like a Toei show. Oh, actually, that's not true. I haven't seen the new ones.
New ones
And what
also
little,
don't.
yeah, okay.
They still
Um,
have the Ultraman thing, but it's just more toyetic.
yeah, honestly,
It's
I
not
saw
as
like
bad
a
as
little
Rider
bit
though.
of uh, X or Cross or whatever, like Ultraman thing, and I was so pissed off. I'm like, you're turning this into straight Rider, like the shittiest parts of Rider, onto Ultraman, and this is after Mebius because I'm like, Mebius is fucking great. This is, so that kind of turned me off from new Ultraman. But Ultraman is
Orb
like
is
this
good.
huge franchise.
I would suggest checking out Orb, but Orb is really good. Then this one, what do you call it? That's the one thing I really have hard time getting into Sentai compared to Power Rangers. So I Sentai is the only thing that I've watched the least.
Yeah, I mean, my problem is like even like Sentai or Power Rangers or Grand Caesar, like the mech fights, they tend like okay, some of them are interesting, but most of the time it's like okay, this is filler. I know Ryder does that too, but at least Ryder, you might get an interesting action scene, you know? Whereas Sentai, the whole payoff is, hey, look at this MacGuffin we got this episode, let's use it. And if you skip the fucking episode, then it's pointless. Right? Whereas
Uh,
Ryder, it's like, okay, yeah, you got the power up this episode, but it's like very few power ups are actually important to like the storyline. Like if you want to skip the fight, like you could skip like okay, this fight's this episode, if you wanted to, you could skip them. And you would have still gotten a decent story out of it. Right? Whereas like Sentai, it's kind of 50-50 if you can do that.
yeah, Lupin
Or
Ranger
Power
versus
Ranger.
Power Ranger was the where like I actually cared more about the characters.
Oh, it was so good.
While filler, it was oh, like what do you call it? It was not necessary. I could.
Sorry, you
Um,
said it was not what was not necessary?
I was saying in Lupin Ranger versus Power Ranger, mech fight wasn't the highlight of the show. It was the characters and other stuff. So I fast forward through it and then finish it off if I didn't have time. So I quite enjoyed that format, but I think that was what killed the toys of that show. Yeah, but it was pretty fun to watch Lupin Ranger versus Part Ranger. I wish actually I am not liking it.
Okay. Honestly, I feel like we should diversify a little bit more because like even I think Toei at this point has realized like they keep relying on two shows all the fucking time. Like that's why they keep putting in the damn metal like, oh,
Yeah,
something for variety's sake, right? Like they need a third show at this point
yeah,
because
they
like
need a third
the
show
toy
or
gimmicks are yeah, the toy gimmicks are fucking crushing their damn franchises at this point. Like
yeah,
it got so bad in Rider they had to move it to Sentai, and even Sentai now they've got pretty packed. Like it was fucking packed with the mechs, and now like you're getting Rider. I mean, Raiders with power ups on top of that, so it's even more shit.
hmm
At least Sentai
but
has like a big enough cast that it can work. Rider, not.
that's the one of the that's okay. That's one of the few reasons why I actually think that we should end stuff like Amazons and other branching out paths rather than just on the core rider to tell the rider story. If you really want to rely on the franchise, and you should also diversify, like have a Metal Hero show, or don't let Bandai control everything.
Like, considering how good Kick High did, fucking either bring back Kick Hider or Metal Heroes. Like, you could do it. Even if it's like an
Mm.
Amazon style miniseries.
Or you could just make a
No.
Kikai show.
Oh, they could. I mean, they're not going to, but they could.
Yeah, I mean, they could hire the actor. He's great. I like Jingy Ire. He
Wasn't he
was a good.
already? Oh, yeah,
He was.
Wasn't he already Kick Hider in the reboot?
Yeah, he was the Kikai in the reboot. That's the they made him Kikai in the first place.
So that's pretty good. Um, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like, hopefully, like it's the Doctor Who problem of like, okay, the new freshness is gone now. Like, it's been back for so long. Like, unless you do something good, like your continued existence is no longer a marvel. Like it's, oh, holy shit, at least it exists now. Does not impress anyone. Like I'm not so burnt out that I'm like, okay, just fucking give it a rest for a couple of years because like again, like there've been some decent shit lately. Go ahead, you guys.
Oh, I was just
Um,
gonna say I agree. Um, yeah, this is pretty much gonna be the last thing I say, but that's one thing that's kind of made like Arrow and Flash better is that they're actually hinting at like this is coming to an end, so shit's gonna get real.
I don't know. I'm kind of checked out at this point. I don't have anything to add anymore.
Yeah, same here. The only thing is that in my opinion, just Sentai, sure, Sentai, in my opinion, few years off. But again, I'm not a Sentai watcher, so my opinion is not that valid. Because the ideas feel stale. That's the only justification. But at least as far as Rider goes, I'm just hoping that they let Bandai loosen the control over the storyline and the toys.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with Sentai is like I don't feel like it's stale. I feel like they haven't explored the full potential. Because like if they did like a Blade or a Hibiki style thing where like each of the heroes is a hero by themselves and they kind of work in a team, like I think Sentai would still be interesting because like fucking writer can write decent plot lines for secondary characters. Sentai can definitely do that. Um,
Yeah, but
like or add some of the elements from like the Defense Force stuff from Ultraman, where it's like you have a team, but like they're deployed differently. Like Ultraman uses their like team stuff way more interesting than Sentai ever does. Um,
Or I'm just gonna say,
is what?
there's a Korean tokusatsu called Legend Heroes that
Legend
it is
Hero.
just one season. Yeah. Uh, Okay.
Yeah, the
The mech fights are bad. Like I'm talking about because they use CGI for the whole time, and CGI is not good. But they always spice up the mech fights by not using the mech fights like at the beginning it was the final ending thing. Then they started using mech fight, people losing the mech fight, and then the people battling continuously so that it makes the thing interesting. So that you know you can actually diversify the toys.
that's pretty interesting actually. Um, yeah, I guess that would add a very interesting element. I mean, like Go Busters kind of did a little bit like that, but like it seems like Legend Heroes took that and ran with it, so that's cool. Um, as for
Yeah.
Ryder, um, Ryder can actually do so much, to be honest. Like one fucking female writer, or at least a goddamn secondary, at this point is a fucking necessity. Just put it in, make sure they don't die, for God's sakes. Um, and then otherwise, like, yeah, just keep doing more shit like Amazon's, like more side series, like the Future Rider shit, like, specials, keep just putting that out. Maybe do like, I mean, they're doing the V cinemas, which is cool, but do like more mini series and things like that, or just like weird crossover movies where it's like random past writers just show up and team up to fight a bad guy, and just have them interact, like not just the suits, like the actors, the characters,
That's a
you
lot
know.
tougher, though.
I
They
guess,
have
but
pulled that
like,
off before
yeah,
in Heisei Rider History.
I'm not saying it's
right,
impossible.
exactly.
It's just a lot harder to do.
Yeah,
No, I'm
true.
not.
I
I'm
I
not saying
agree.
like do it constantly as a show or anything. I'm just saying like have like a side branch, like have a line of writer shit, which is just focus on that. So whenever like a couple actors want to come back, like give them a fucking V cinema or some shit where they can actually interact and have personality. You know, like Sentai gets the fucking 10 years after shit, and writer. I mean, besides Zi-O, they've gotten nothing, right? I mean,
Um,
like if we didn't have this show, yeah, go ahead.
okay. Let me just say, one thing about Rider, the actors who are in Rider, they are a lot more busy, wanted, and popular. So I can understand why,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they also get expensive. So I can understand why they are not doing it.
No, I'm not saying call the actors. It's like, hey, put it as like a side thing where it's like if any actors ever want to come back, then you have like a side branch. Like how we used to have Tyson. Like that used to be a line of Rider Sentai shit that Toei did,
But
right?
Tyson's was
Like
bad.
yeah, Tyson was super bad. That's what
Okay.
I'm saying not to focus on. Like don't focus on the suits, don't focus on throwing like a million things at once. Just have like have a crossover with just the cop rider,
Like
right?
okay, I can. Oh, okay. So you mean like Kamen Sentai Go Rider and Kamen Rider
Yeah,
4?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, something like that. Where it's just like them in character or like yeah, exactly. Like have all the cop writers just investigate a case, Like whatever. Just scenarios. Like we have so many of these. Just do those. Um or if not, like yeah, again, just build another franchise. Like Metal Heroes would be nice. Honestly, I'd be fine with a little less tokusatsu because they're like, okay, the reason why they don't want to do it is like the cost, right? And I'm like, okay, yeah,
Mm.
if you do another Henshin Hero shit, it's gonna be really costly. Um,
It's not only that, but it's gonna run into bit. as Sentai Rider sooner or later. It's gonna be the mid 2000 tokusatsu boom again.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. At least fucking shit happened, right? Like Toei actually had to step up their game in that era, right?
Yeah,
Like the best
the
Sentai came out in that fucking era.
I would argue
W-
that one of the best rider seasons in that
right,
era.
exactly. So like Toei actually had to fucking do shit. Um, I can't really tell like another company to do it because at this point, like nobody fucking has the money. Um, and the reason why that early like late 90s kind of was like people just had the money lying around to throw at the shit. Like that's why we had this like giant anime boom for a little while because like the
It's
money was
happening
there, but now it's
now
all
as
gone.
well. Oh yeah,
Right.
that's true. The studios are going bankrupt.
Right, exactly. So it's like I can't really ask any other company besides Toei to do it because like nobody has the fucking infrastructure right now to do it except the ones who are already doing it. Like Garo somehow managed to make itself into a franchise, which is fucking amazing. Um,
Yeah.
and survive, right? And then like
And
Ultraman came back from the dead, and then
Ultraman came
Toei and
back.
Sentai keep going on.
Yeah. I would just say this one. Takara Tomy used to do Ryukendo, Rescue Force, and Rescue Fire, but they saw more success in Magical Girls shows, so they're doing that.
Are they really? What are they? What's the magic?
It's the Girl X, currently Phantom Mirage is.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So
Yeah,
they're
it's
competing with Pretty Cure, I guess. That's
probably.
hmm, interesting. I mean, whatever works, right? Yeah, because like honestly, outside of that, like the only tokusatsu things majorly that are out there are like what's left, like Garo and Godzilla and fucking Gamera, right? Like they're
Whatever
like the
Toho
old
produces,
right, and exactly like it's only Toho left because like
Toho,
Gamera's
the people who produce Garo because they are not looking for too much profit, and Sentai Rider and Ultraman, but that also is
yeah,
owned by Bandai.
well yeah, and Toho also owns that.
Yeah,
So, all Subaraya Productions, but whatever. The point is like you've got literally like three companies running the show. Oh, four. Oh, Garo. Eh.
and Garo, you
It
if you don't count Garo, it comes
yeah,
once in a while.
right. Like it's gonna be interesting. Like okay, you know what would be really interesting? Like a mix of like Western heroes and Tokusatsu heroes, right? Because like it's
You
not
mean
like they
like?
can't. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Wait, shit. What's the time right now?
Oh,
We
we're
we went
we
for
are
two
over
hours.
2 hours actually.
Yeah, we should actually wrap it up.
I was ready to end this an hour ago, and you guys kept talking.
Shit, should have been not in the show.
um. Yeah. Well, it's the extra hour that you got from missing the last podcast.
Honestly, I was like,
Um.
you know what, this is good stuff. Like, we finished the actual episode. People can just keep listening if they want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Um.
Uh,
Yeah. I guess I'll let you guys go now. Instead of wasting more of your day
All right.
or night.
If you
it's
Um.
okay. I'm really
somehow
sorry about it.
if you somehow made it this far, Drago and I will be returning
Congrats.
tomorrow for another podcast for Power Rangers Beast Morphers. So if you're interested, we'll see you there.
Bye bye.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.